ในการบริหารธุรกิจเนี่ยมันมีปัจจัยที่จะทำให้องค์กรยั่งยืนเนี่ยเกี่ยวข้องเยอะมาก
เรื่องของการบริหารความเสี่ยงเรื่องของการที่เราจะต้องทำอย่างไรถึงจะดำเนินธุรกิจอย่างยั่งยืน
เรื่องของ sustainability กับเรื่องของ strategy เนี่ยมันคือเรื่องเดียวกัน
มันเป็นการเติบโตไม่ใช่เพียงแค่เศรษฐกิจแต่เป็นการสร้างสังคมที่แข็งแรงขึ้น
วันนี้ sustainability เนี่ยเป็นความท้าทายที่ให้ทั้งโอกาสนะครับแล้วก็ความเสี่ยง
คนรุ่นใหม่จำนวนมากเนี่ยเขาเริ่มมองว่าทำยังไงที่จะรอดกันยาว
ๆหลักสูตรนี้ดีมากเป็นการช่วยบอร์ดเข้ามาเป็นส่วนคิดมากในการวาง strategy
ถ้าสามารถมาร่วมในหลักสูตรแบบนี้แล้วเนี่ยผมว่าไอ้นี่คือความหวังเลย
เราได้เรียนรู้เนี่ยไม่ได้จากแค่วิทยากรเท่านั้นแต่เพื่อนๆในคลาสเองเนี่ยก็เป็นอะไรที่สุดยอดไม่น่าจะได้ไปหาเรียนได้แบบนี้ที่อื่น
รู้สึกว่าผมไม่รู้อะไรอีกตั้งเยอะในการที่จะเป็นกรรมการที่ครบถ้วนผมพบว่าทันสมัยมากขึ้นแล้วก็ตอบโจทย์หลายๆอย่าง
สิ่งแวดล้อมด้านของสังคมและก็ด้านของธรรมาภิบาลก็เป็นหัวใจสำคัญในด้านของ ESG ขณะเดียวกันก็ต้องมี innovation เพื่อให้สามารถที่จะมุ่งไปข้างหน้าให้ได้อย่างมั่นคง
ทุกคุณเป็น top management คุณเป็น chairman คุณเป็นกรุ๊ป CEO ต่างๆต้องมองภาพยาวธุรกิจที่เราอยู่มันอยู่ใน direction ที่มันจะไปหรือเปล่าเทรนด์ของ business มันจะไปหรือเปล่า
องค์กรจะอยู่เฉยไม่ได้ละดังนั้นเรื่องของตัว innovation นะคะหรือเรื่องของ sustain เนี่ยเป็นเรื่องที่บอร์ดกับฝ่ายจัดการควรจะต้องมาให้ความสำคัญที่ชัดเจนและเพิ่มขึ้น
ธุรกิจเนี่ยมันต้องเปลี่ยนแปลงตามสถานการณ์เพราะฉะนั้นบอร์ดที่มีความรู้ความสามารถที่จะสอดคล้องกับความต้องการธุรกิจเป็นเรื่องสำคัญ
niche player เนี่ยมันถูก disrupt มันถูก challenge มาตลอดว่า despite ว่าคุณ short term performance คุณทำดีจะแน่ใจยังครับว่าอีกหลายปีข้างหน้าคุณจะทำได้เหมือนเดิมและทำได้ดีกว่าเดิม
การมาร่วมสัมมนาเนี่ยนะฮะก็ทำให้เราได้รับรู้นะฮะแล้วก็เห็นมุมมองต่าง
ๆเราเห็นภาพกว้างนะเราเห็น foresight ว่าวันนี้การเปลี่ยนแปลงทั้งหลายความท้าทายทั้งนี้กำลังเข้ามา
ในการบริหารธุรกิจเนี่ยมันมีปัจจัยที่จะทำให้องค์กรยั่งยืนเนี่ยที่เกี่ยวข้องเยอะมาก
เรื่องของการบริหารความเสี่ยงเรื่องของการที่เราจะต้องทำอย่างไรถึงจะดำเนินธุรกิจอย่างยั่งยืน
เรื่องของ sustainability กับเรื่องของ strategy เนี่ยมันคือเรื่องเดียวกัน
มันเป็นการเติบโตไม่ใช่เพียงแค่เศรษฐกิจแต่เป็นการสร้างสังคมที่แข็งแรงขึ้น
วันนี้ sustainability เนี่ยเป็นความท้าทายที่ให้ทั้งโอกาสนะครับแล้วก็ความเสี่ยง
คนรุ่นใหม่จำนวนมากเนี่ยเขาเริ่มมองว่าทำยังไงที่จะรอดกันยาว
ๆพี่หลักสูตรนี้ดีมากเป็นการช่วยบอร์ดเข้ามาเป็นส่วนคิดมากในการวาง strategy
ถ้าสามารถมาร่วมในหลักสูตรแบบนี้แล้วเนี่ยผมว่าไอ้นี่คือความหวังเลย
เราได้เรียนรู้เนี่ยไม่ได้จากแค่วิทยากรเท่านั้นแต่เพื่อนๆในคลาสเองเนี่ยก็เป็นอะไรที่สุดยอดไม่น่าจะได้ไปหาเรียนได้แบบนี้ที่อื่น
รู้สึกว่าผมไม่รู้อะไรอีกตั้งเยอะในการที่จะเป็นกรรมการที่ครบถ้วนผมพบว่าทันสมัยมากขึ้นแล้วก็ตอบโจทย์หลายๆอย่าง
สิ่งแวดล้อมด้านของสังคมและก็ด้านของธรรมาภิบาลก็เป็นหัวใจสำคัญด้านของ ESG ขณะเดียวกันก็ต้องมี innovation เพื่อที่จะสามารถที่จะมุ่งไปข้างหน้าให้ได้อย่างมั่นคง
ทุกคุณเป็น top management คุณเป็น chairman คุณเป็นกรุ๊ป CEO ต่างๆต้องมองภาพยาวธุรกิจที่เราอยู่มันอยู่ใน direction ที่มันจะไปหรือเปล่าเทรนด์ของ business มันจะไปหรือเปล่า
องค์กรจะอยู่เฉยไม่ได้ละดังนั้นเรื่องของตัว innovation นะคะหรือเรื่องของ sustain เนี่ยเป็นเรื่องที่บอร์ดกับฝ่ายจัดการควรจะต้องมาให้ความสำคัญที่ชัดเจนและเพิ่มขึ้น
ธุรกิจเนี่ยมันต้องเปลี่ยนแปลงตามสถานการณ์เพราะฉะนั้นบอร์ดที่มีความรู้ความสามารถที่จะสอดคล้องกับความต้องการธุรกิจเป็นเรื่องสำคัญ
niche player เนี่ยมันถูก disrupt มันถูก challenge มาตลอดว่า despite ว่าคุณ short term performance คุณทำดีจะแน่ใจยังไงว่าอีกหลายปีข้างหน้าคุณจะทำได้เหมือนเดิมและทำได้ดีกว่าเดิม
การมาร่วมสัมมนาเนี่ยนะฮะก็ทำให้เราได้รับรู้นะฮะแล้วก็เห็นมุมมองต่าง
ๆเราเห็นภาพกว้างเราเห็น foresight ว่าวันนี้การเปลี่ยนแปลงทั้งหลายความท้าทายทั้งหลายกำลังเข้ามา
ติดต่อมาโชว์ดีสิ
สวัสดีครับท่านผู้มีเกียรติหนูไปช่วยหลีสิงข้างหลังขอบคุณมากครับครับครับผมกุลเวช เจนพัฒนวิทย์นะครับในเอเชียก่อนหน้าจะเดินตลอดของโควิดได้แต่ที่เขาไม่ได้ผลเนี่ยจากภาวะเศรษฐกิจถดถอยเมื่อไหร่ครับขอบคุณครับ Let's start again. My name is Kulowe Jen Watana with the Thai IoT CEO, and today, welcome to National Director Conference 2021. As you can see that this is a series, and this series will be divided into small sessions. But before I go into that small session, I would like to thank all the sponsors for making this happen. Now, what are you going to see? This series will run for 2.5 months, from this week until the 12th of October. And it will be divided into 9 sessions. This week is the first session. This week is special, and we will conduct it in English only this week because we are touring Israel. We are touring innovative disruption. And with that, I would like to ask any of you to put your speaker on mute, and we welcome any question from you. But please send it to us by chatting and send through all panelists. And I will make sure that it is covered. Before anything, I would like to introduce and would like to thank again our co-host from Israel to share the topic, navigating innovation. Please welcome Mr. Dagan Aloni, Israel Economic Counselor to Thailand. Sawadee krab.
Sawadee krab, Kun Colin. Sawadee krab. How are you?
Sawadee krab. Oh, by the way, a lot of you might not know the name Colin. By the way, my English name is Colin. That's why.
You said it will be conducted in English, so I
exactly. So, Kun Dagan, I can't wait to hear about today's the detail and the excitement. What are we going to hear from Israel?
So maybe let me start by first of all thank you again, and first for our grand collaboration. You and the IOD team are quite amazing, and we are very fortunate to working with you. After an interesting first event 2 days ago, I believe today will be even just as fruitful. But for those of you who didn't attend the first session, maybe I'll give just a very, very short introduction of myself. My name is Dagan Aloni. I'm the Israeli Economic Counselor to Thailand, been here for the past 3.5 years, and one of Thailand's biggest supporters and fans altogether. My office tries to assist Israeli and Thai companies to find beneficial partnerships, business collaboration, especially when it comes from the technology side, when Israeli has a specific strength there. We always see great things when Israel and Thailand are collaborate, but we still have 6,000 kilometers between one another. So this is trying to be a bit valuable. I'm not a commercial entity, which make my life a bit easier. So from the first session, we learned from our board of directors and the audience feedback that it is important for the board of directors to understand the implications of technology to the organization, because they have a very important job and they need to do it well. That is to navigate the ship according to the company's needs. So today we will hear professional from the more commercial side, as they say, the executive who actually put their money where their mouth is. I think that our directors today will find useful insight that were learned from many years of experience. I'm actually quite honored that my office was able to assist with some of the partnerships formed between our panelists today. So we will start with a great panel from the largest venture capital in Israel, which is Viola, which will be speaking with SEB 10X about how do we even approach tech investment in such a problematic time. We will also hear from Personetics, which took upon itself, let's say, a difficult challenge to personalize customer engagement in one of the more older fashion, but rapidly changing industry, which is the financial sector. There are also the minds behind the UOB Bank new digital brand tomorrow, which is you can see everywhere in town today. Our last panel, but not least, will be with the great people who leads the innovation in Thai Union and in Strauss, which is the biggest food and beverage company in Israel, and a great startup which got investment from both of them. So as I said, also in the first session, we will try to keep actual examples for the board of directors to have tools. And we can hear today two sides of the same coin, both from startups and from corporates. So again, thank you very much for for the patience and for your attendees, and we hope you will have fun and find it interesting.
But Dakan, we will see you again at the end of the.
I will be here all throughout. So I will try to help the speaker with the Q&A as well, and even moderate the last session.
Thank you very much.
I'm here, Colin.
And then at the end, let's summarize everything together.
Of course, happy to.
Great. Thank you.
Maybe without any further ado, I will leave the stage to Mr. Zvika Oron. Zvika is the general partner of Viola Venture Capitals and a board members. I think I can say many high-profile startups. Zvika, with you will be Mukaya Panich, which is the chief venture and investment officer of SEB 10X. Kuntai has so many years of experience to share, so I think your conversation will be valuable to everyone. So Zvika, please.
Thank you very much. So great to see you, or to be here, because I don't see all of you. Okay. Great. Just making sure you can hear me, Dagan?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Perfect, great. So maybe I'll start with, I'm not a big fan of Lenin, but there's a very interesting statement that he said, and it is, there are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. And the technological ecosystem in the past year went through an amazing roller coaster. When it all started, some said, okay, this will pass. It's not a big issue. Everything is as usual. And then at some point, everyone understood, okay, this is big. We need to start and preparing toward this and make all the relevant changes and adjustments. Then the world changed. Digital acceleration had accelerated, from the consumer daily lives have changed to the way that we work, to the way that governments work, to any aspect in our life has changed, and now we're starting to get used to a new norm. And I think that the first point that I would like to address is how did we, as board members at the venture capital, how did we react to this situation? And then I would love to hear from my colleague, about their angle in this at the corporate VC of this situation. So I can tell you that we did 4 major transitions. When it all started, we immediately said, okay, we need to reduce cash burn. Something bad is happening. Everyone are understanding that there's a lot of uncertainty. So in most of our companies, we decreased cash burn in about 30%. How did we do that? First of all, we had a freeze on new hiring. We didn't do any hiring in any of our companies. And we had something that we never did before. It was a global decrease on everyone's salary. Some companies did 5%, some 10%, some did 30%. So all the employees took a hit and decreased salaries on an average of around 15%. So number one is cash burn. Number two is product adoption. Each sector had to deal with this situation in a different way. I'm not talking about, companies that are in travel tech or in hospitality or in retail. They really took a major hit because it's very hard to improvise in those situations. But I want to give you an example. We have a company in our portfolio called 𝐍𝐵. And 𝐍𝐵's core technology is providing a digital ecosystem for conferences like this one. So, 2 years ago, we used to go to real conferences, physical conferences. We used to meet people. And 𝐍𝐵's platform allowed them to coordinate meeting in advance, to stay in touch. And now with COVID, there were no more conferences. So they were able in 4 months to pivot the product and provide an end-to-end solution for virtual conferences. And this allowed them to double their revenue within 4 months, allowed them to be the market leader in anything that is virtual conference related, and to penetrate into this blue ocean, which was a huge opportunity, and allowed them to be very agile, to work fast, and to identify interesting opportunities in changing times. So second point is product adoption. Very important to see, okay, we have to continuously analyze what is the new situation. Based on that, adjust the product roadmap. Number three is remote work. So we all shifted immediately to remote work. And it was very important for us to help our portfolio identify what are the best productivity tools that will allow the increase of efficiency of the employees. So not only moving to Zoom, but to provide, if it's for developers, dedicated tools that will allow the developers to work in collaboration and to allow the team leader to understand what's happening to each of the developers. The second point is mental support. We saw a major increase in depression of people at home. Some, were stuck with kids. They didn't see sunlight. They couldn't go out. So we really pushed our CEOs and the management to increase conversations, different types of social events, to stay in close contact with those people so they do not feel alone. So this is really, in a snapshot, what we've been doing. I would love to hear, what's on your side of SCB and how did you deal with this, situation?
Yeah, for us, it's very interesting. Actually, I have been the investor in technology companies for the last 16 years. But the first 14 years, I invest in publicly listed equities. And when I come to SCB 10X at the beginning of last year to help start SCB 10X. It's the first time that I started to do venture capital. So I actually had no idea how the traditional VC work. So for me, I'm pretty much a new normal venture capitalist. For me, like whatever help for us to source the best deal, that's what we would do. So there are multiple things that we did that I think quite different from before. So first of all, we actually did not slow down our investment at all when COVID-19 hit. I think at the beginning of last year and middle of the year, I think a lot of VC slow down to wait and see how things would turn out. But for us, we thought, every crisis, that's the opportunity. And that's probably like the best time to pick up a gem at a discount. So we actually, like at that time, did not have that many deals flow in because of course like things slow down and we couldn't travel at all. So how could we find a deal? So we brainstorm and then strategize and then came up with a strategy that, you know what, we're going to do research on the sector and the companies that we think will benefit from the new normal. They have this disruptive technology that could have the exponential growth. Then, you know, we would approach these companies and see whether they're actually open for investment or not. So in a way, we actually did not wait for the deal to happen. We identify the companies that we would like to invest and then approach them directly. And that's what we did with the BlockFi, which is crypto wealth management platform. But actually, maybe let me talk about another company that I'm very excited about because it's a Israeli company. And actually, I have to also say that SCB 10X right now, we have the highest exposure to Israeli startup. So very excited about this because Israeli companies have amazing technology. So yeah, the deal that I would like to maybe give an example of how we do our deal sourcing is Fireblocks, which we recently collaborated in a Series D round with Sequoia, Spark, Stripe, and DRW. So what happened is that my team and I did the study of 11 crypto custody. So for us, we felt that crypto custody is the most important infrastructure if you're going to start investing in digital asset, because once you buy Bitcoin, for example, you need to store it somewhere, especially if you are institutional clients. So that's why we researched into 11 crypto custody, and then we found that Fireblocks has like really interesting technology and very differentiated network infrastructure as well. But we didn't know the team, the founder. So how should we do it? So what we did is that we approached the salespeople of Fireblocks in Singapore, and then we had like 3 rounds of call. At that time, we actually were looking for crypto custody to use for our VC team as well. And I also want to identify crypto custody for the bank as well. So we had you know, those calls for like period of months when we felt very convicted that this is really the one. So we asked the sales team to please introduce us to the founder and CEO, Michael Choloff. And that's how, you know, we approach the management team. And that's how we get to know the management team. And then in the span of 7 months, we really got to know the company. We became the customers. And after 7 months, we also became an investor. So I think that that's the way that we do things differently during the COVID-19 time. We just don't wait for the deal to come to us. We actually identify and go after them. And then a second thing that we do different is due diligence, because for us, we are corporate VC. And so the procedures and everything, you know, are quite detailed. And before, we actually had to go meet startups, meet all the management team physically in person, visit the office, all the facility and everything, which now become impossible because of COVID-19. So we decided to, like, you know, let's just be agile. Let's use this agility in the time of crisis. We decided, okay, we're going to now do all due diligence via Zoom. And so far it has been quite effective. I mean, we didn't, you know, not do deep due diligence as before. I mean, like, we continue to do very deep due diligence, but we do everything via Zoom and get to know management team very well over the time period. Yeah, so we also do live demo as well. Previously, it used to be at their office, but then now it had to be on Zoom, but then that's fine as well. Yeah, so I guess that's, you know, the things that we do differently, but we found quite effective so far.
Do you see any difference on diligence processes being done over Zoom compared to face-to-face interactions? What do you think are the pros and cons of doing it virtually versus physically?
I think in general, it saves so much time because you can have the call with anybody, right? You don't have to go visit them in their country, travel and you know, jet lag and everything. But I guess like the downside is that, you know, a lot of time there are those body languages. Because I actually been in investment industry for 14 years. That's what we actually like to meet physically, to actually read the body language. And then you can actually tell whether, they have more confidence, less confident, whether things are better, things are getting worse. But that type of body languages sometimes is harder to pick up from Zoom. But I guess we have to be agile, and in the time of crisis, yeah, we have to do it. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. I couldn't agree more. I think that for early stage, that is a big problem, because in early stage investments, we are more focused on investing in entrepreneurs and decrease and interactions, and getting to know the entrepreneurs is a really big disadvantage. But in late stage, just as you mentioned, you have the availability is higher. You can have more conversations. When you go to a Zoom conversation, usually, you're more well prepared, you know what you want to ask, and you get the right answers. So I think that for late stage investment, like 5 blocks, I think it's an amazing advantage to do it this way, because you can really pull in much more information, because there's less hassle on the side of the company.
That's right. Yeah, I can talk to the people in New York office, in Singapore office, in the Israeli office. No problem within the same day.
Exactly. So the second point that I wanted to touch is around the changes in focus of investment, right? So, back in the beginning of 2020, we had a completely different strategy of the sectors that we want to invest in. And this is really changing very fast. Our companies that took the biggest hit were companies that are selling to retailers, or companies that are in travel tech. And those companies, we immediately shut down burn not to 30%, we took it down to 10%, 90% decrease. Really waiting before things are going back to happen. But on the other hand, there are 4 sectors that were pushing, very strong, and I would like to maybe elaborate on those four interesting sectors. Number 1 is digital health. I think that's a really big thing now in COVID times. It's harder to visit a doctor, and the second thing, that there are new issues to deal with, especially mental issues. How do you deal with depression, loneliness? And there's a lot of ways that can leverage digital solutions to cope with that. I think the introduction of telehealth, the fact that you can, instead of visiting a doctor with your kids with an ear infection, there's now technologies that they sell at home, that they allow the doctor to collect the information and send you a prescription over email, and the medicine can come, through some type of e-commerce provider and provide you the medicine all the way to your home. So you really shorten the cycle of visit the doctor, take the prescription, go to the pharmacy, bring it back home. So there are many ways of shortening processes and making them really much more efficient. So on digital health, we're looking on one hand on telehealth. The other one is, how do we leverage AI to accelerate drug development? We saw now with Moderna and with Pfizer how they were able to adapt to COVID within 48 hours. They had a digital platform. They had just to take the virus DNA, and then they immediately had a solution. It took more time for regulation and clinical trials and processes, but it happened really fast. So I think that the way that drugs will be developed from now on will be completely changed and much more digitized, as unfortunately we expect more viruses, more variations, and the medicines and vaccines have to adopt very quickly. So topic number 1 is health. Topic number 2 is cloud infrastructure. So in COVID, everyone started working from home. Everyone, there was a significant increase in the usage of the cloud. And the cloud had to adopt as well. And there was a lot of room for innovation in providing better semiconductors, better hardware solutions for the cloud to accelerate performance, better cloud infrastructure, software tools that can allow better usage of the hardware, and better applications that are leveraging cloud opportunities. So number 2 is cloud. Number 3 is AI services. How can AI replace traditional services? It can be in construction, in agriculture, in fintech, and many other areas that are more traditional. And the usage of AI can sometimes replace the need of human capital and can accelerate processes and do things without the need of physical interaction. Number 4 is e-commerce. People on average in the United States, about 10% of anything that they buy online. Now, at COVID times, it went up to 50, 60%, which creates a huge market and many opportunities, not only on new products and applications that you can sell, but on the way that you sell it. And I will give you an example. One of the reasons that people want to buy in a store is because they want to have the physical interaction, they want to consult, they want to hear feedback. So we have a company that is trying to imitate, to replicate the traditional shopping process online. They do this by, okay, let's say you're going into Uniqlo or to any type of a fashion store. And on the upper right, you will have a window with someone that will reach out to you and talk to you, not a machine, a real person. It will ask you, okay, what are you looking for? What type of clothes? Oh, here, listen, I can show you this t-shirt. Do you like it? No. Would you like maybe to look at something different? So how can you really take the physical experience and make it, completely digital? So to recap, I think that the most interesting sectors that we are focusing nowadays are digital health, cloud, AI, focused on fintech, construction, and agriculture, and e-commerce, new applications, and new infrastructure. Would love to hear, if you have any thoughts on any changes in the investment focus that you have.
No, Zvika, I agree with all those sectors because we also invest as well, and very well said. But another area that we also very excited about is the blockchain for financial services. We feel that blockchain is right now at the same time, at the same period as the internet back in 2000, at the cusp of something meaningful that will happen and will have like a meaningful impact to every sector of the economy. Basically, like a blockchain, you can think of it as a distributed ledger and permissionless. And it can help reduce costs, increase transparency, this intermediate, the middleman, and also help with the immediate settlement. It's a way to actually reinvent traditional finance. The area that we feel very, very excited about in blockchain for financial service is in decentralized finance, a quite specific area. In decentralized finance or DeFi, that is using software code, which is in smart contract on blockchain to actually govern how the operation should be, govern the rule, how the counterparties will interact. And so you can do everything completely via software and no need for human intervention at all, no human interaction needed, just let the software run all these. And so it can run forever until someone need to upgrade the code, and the developer come in and then upgrade the code. But it's amazing because you can have like 5 people started a DeFi company, and then it will completely like takes like so little money to actually run that startup, and it can have like a very meaningful impact to traditional finance. So right now we can see DeFi in every area that traditional finance has. It can be lending, borrowing, It can be in trading, it can be in derivatives, can be in asset management, insurance, everything that we have in traditional finance, there are versions in DeFi, completely pure software run. And we feel that for traditional finance, we have to really understand DeFi, because we could be completely disintermediated, because in the future, the two counterparties like lender and borrower, right? They don't have to come to the bank anymore. They could just go do this with DeFi projects, borrow, lend together. And yeah, if we don't understand, then we will completely be the middleman that completely disintermediated. But we felt that there should be a way to work together with DeFi companies, because traditional finance, we are very good interacting with the customer. So we could still be the front end, acquire customer, service customer, but we could use the DeFi company to be the software layer, the back end, to help reduce all these costs and increase the efficiency, the transparency, reduce the settlement time and everything. So that's what we try to see right now with her. We could invest and also try to integrate DeFi with a bank like us. So this is the area that we are very excited about.
That's fantastic. It's I completely agree that blockchain was a big promise. The only application for a while it was crypto, and the COVID times really accelerated the application, especially in financial services that we mentioned before, of really how can you do frictionless processes and leveraging this very unique and interesting technology. Do we need to finish, or do we still have a few more minutes?
Yeah, I can talk to Zvika all day.
Yeah.
There's so much more to talk about.
I think you can have a few minutes. If something you would like to discuss.
Great. So maybe one more question. We're talking from different perspectives. You guys are corporate VC, we are financial VC, and in COVID, I assume that maybe perspectives can change. As a financial VC, we have only one KPI, and that is, returning the maximum amount of money that we can for our investors. And we find ourselves dealing with this inflated market. The market is super high now, and the early stage is affected from the late stage. The late stage multiples in the public market are huge. And then, we invest in early stage at almost 2 times the valuation we used to do a year ago. Now, we are investing at early stage. We need those companies to be acquired in 7 years from now. And, you don't know what's going to be in 7 years from now. How will the markets look like? And if we pay high now and the markets will be low then it will be very hard to provide good returns. So the thing that we're doing now is actually to go earlier. We're used to do seed A and B rounds. Now we're doing mostly seed rounds. We are trying to incubate new companies. This way, leverage the fact that we were part of the incubation to get better deals. We are looking at areas that are not as hyped. So to focus on areas that are maybe under the radar, or that we have a special understanding, and those valuations are still a little bit lower. But I would love to hear about your perspective. Again, you have more motivation, not only financial returns, but innovation or observability of the ecosystem. So I would like to hear, what's your angle on that?
Yeah, no, Zvika, I agree with most of what you said. For us, as corporate VC, we invest with both financial return and strategic return focus. But again, you cannot have strategic return if the startup lost money, because there's a chance that they might go under, and when they go under, then there's no strategic return anymore because it went under already, right? So it's important too that we have to invest and make sure that those startups will actually generate quite good return. Yeah, that is exactly what I feel as well. Last year we could pick up a lot of gem at that discount, but this year it's getting to be quite expensive, and for us too. We felt that in the last 12 months, we have been investing quite a lot. We invested in 16 deals. So we didn't slow down. Yeah, but then now for the rest of the year, probably we're going to slow down now, because we saw the valuation, exactly like you said, it had gone above and beyond. And And so we also are afraid too that if we are not disciplined in terms of valuation, it might bite us back down the road. So it's probably better to be a bit careful in terms of valuation and be more disciplined. And we too, we also in the past invested in more like a Series B, C and higher. But then now we also go into seed stage as well. Especially in DeFi, because in DeFi, they pretty much raised once or twice, and then after that they launch the token, and that's pretty much IPO. So for us, we invest in a lot in seed stage and Series A now, because of the valuation and also because we invest more in a blockchain area, and it's better to go early. So like you said, we pretty much look at the company, put a lot of our attention on the team and on the technology that they try to differentiate themselves or try to solve the pain point, whether those are very differentiated and unique. So then we would invest into those early stage. But I agree, that we also have the tendency now to go invest in earlier stage. Fireblock is the exception because we actually really like that technology, and we actually knew them in Series C, but at the time they were closing Series C, so we couldn't go in fast enough.
Got it. What maybe, so how do you see timelines of diligence? So because of the higher competition, we're seeing that, if in normal days, it took from a first meeting to a term sheet, somewhere around, 6 to 8 weeks, we had some time to work. Now it's somewhere around 6 to 8 days.
Yeah, so, that's true. Or 2 weeks maximum.
So how do you deal with that crazy pace?
No, because I think I mentioned to you, right? The way we do it is that we go approach the company directly. So a lot of time we try to do the due diligence before we actually went to meet them. And then we do the research and everything on the competitive dynamic, the competitors, customer, things like that. And then when we went in and then opened the data room, then we actually dig really deep into the financials. But because we did all the research prior, so we could actually meet the timeline. And again, I use the example of Fireblocks because, the round closed so fast. But we were so fortunate because we went into Series C, and then at that time they told us that they got the lead investor come in, gave the term sheet, and within 2 weeks they closed. So we know, we're like, okay, we gotta do the due diligence ahead of time this time. And then we be ready when the round open, and then we're going to close with the rest of people, because CVC is famous for like taking long time to do due diligence, and if we not adjust, we will miss the deal. So we have to adjust ourselves.
Fantastic.
I think that we need to wrap it up.
All right.
For me specifically, Mukaya and Zvika, this was super interesting, and I listened very carefully, especially to see about what are the trends that the big companies see today that are, for one, safer, and the second are growing in specific in this time. Also very interesting to see how you deal with the storm that we all had in the past year or two. So I want to first of all thank you very much for your time and for your efforts, and we found it great. If I can please ask you a favor, there are 2 or 3 questions that are in the chat. I think one for you regarding DeFi, Kuntai, and Zvika, 2 of them, I believe it's for you. If you can maybe just before you leave, you can type them in, because we're short of time in order to do that verbally. So you can just type it for the guests to hear. That I would super appreciate. And I can, in the meantime, move forward to Mr. Dorel.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Super interesting. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So for everyone, our next speaker is Mr. Dorel Blitz, which is the Vice President Strategy and Business Development at Personetics, which is one of the leading personalized customer engagement platform for the financial institution. Now, Dorel has been around for several years, and he will take us through the journey of digitalizing a more conservative sector, you can say. So Dorel, thank you very much for joining. You're on mute, Dorel.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well. If you can even speak up, it will be even better.
That's great. And can you see my screen right now? I'm just sharing my slides with you.
Yes, we see everything.
Okay, great. So hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. And again, Dagan and the team, thank you for inviting me to present Personetics to you today. My name is Dorel Blitz. I'm VP Strategy and Business Development at Personetics, currently based in Tel Aviv. And I'm here to speak with you a little bit about the Personetics Road, the work that we are already doing in Thailand, and how we are, disrupting, if you will, finance, and sharing our vision of self-driving finance with the world-leading financial institutions. So Personetics is a global business, and we are the global category leader in financial data-driven personalization and customer engagement for financial services. As a company, we are in production with over 62 banks in 28 different markets all over the world. We provide a white label, personalized customer engagement platform. We are currently also working in Thailand with UOB Tomorrow Digital Bank and K-Bank, and we are also having some good discussions with other leading Thai banks, and we are really excited about the opportunity to work in this country. And thanks to Dagan and his team that are working with us. As I said, we are a global business, and we are already serving over 1% of the global population through the banks that we are working with. And we are also expanding our business beyond banks into other financial institutions, cards companies, lending, fintech companies, investment house, trading companies, and so on and so forth. And you can see some of the world's largest banks, largest financial institutions all over Southeast Asia, all over North America, South America, and Europe are already working with us, and we are reaching every day over 120 million end customers. So basically what we are doing with our platform, we are helping financial institutions to leverage their biggest asset, which is their own customers' financial transactional data, in order to quickly drive a significant business impact and market differentiation. We're helping banks to move from a historical transactional relationship approach with their customers, a very passive approach, into a smart, proactive, knowledgeable approach with their customers to better sell and to better service by being there for their customers. On the flip side of that, we are helping the end customers, people like you and me, to better manage their financial life, to stay on top of their finance and to increase their financial wellness, even financial resilience. So if you will, on an overall, we are helping financial institutions all over the world to recreate their whole engagement, digital and non-digital, with their customers to better serve and to better sell by leveraging financial transactional data. Our vision as a company is a self-driving finance, very similar to self-driving cars. We believe that financial institutions will have to fulfill their social contract with their customers and even the client's expectations, and actually proactively even act on behalf of their customers to better monetize the relationship value. And this is our vision and how we are driving that into the market, and how we are helping financial institutions finally to move from a passive approach into a smart, proactive, knowledgeable approach with their customers. As a business, we are 11 years old, almost over 300 employees, 8 global offices. We are backed by some of our friends, like, of course, Viola Ventures. Here on the line, we have Zvika, but Viola Ventures, of course, 𝐂𝐤𝐵, Lightspeed Ventures, and recently we also raised a significant amount of money from Warburg Pincus. This is the world's 5th largest private equity firm. We are doubling our growth rate in the last 6 years, and we believe that what we provide is becoming a global market standard for how any kind of financial institutions will engage with their customers. So when we are looking on banks globally, from the biggest trend, I think there are 2 main questions that any CEO of any business, but basically even banks, will actually asking themselves. The first question is, what is the relationship model? How exactly financial institutions are going to stay in the center of their customers' financial life? With so many disruptions, so many technologies, so many digital banks, everything is going around that. How exactly, what is the role they can play in their customers' life? And the second question is the monetization. What is the revenue model? How exactly financial institutions are going to monetize the value that they are create for their customers? How they are going to better sell, to better service, to better manage the risk to better know their customers on that level of hyper-personalized capabilities. Now, we're also looking on the other side on customers, and customers today are really struggling with their money. And by the way, it's a global issue. So many needs, so many capabilities, so many products, so many services, and customers just want to sit back and relax. And today, most of the burden in the finance world is actually laying with the customers, not with the banks. Banks are quite passive, where actually all the capabilities to explore, to decide, to create an action, is with the customers. If it's a small business or wealth management, if it's a private customer, if it's a card holder, still customers need a lot of work and capabilities and a lot of burden on them to actually better transact, better save, better grow their money. And we believe that should turn around into a different way. So this is me and my wife. If I was a blonde guy, and if this was my wife, this is how we would look like maybe. And we are seeing today this kind of relationship of, couples and people where actually need to manage their finance. They are still, in this world of FOMO, fear of missing out, where all the burden is on the customers and everything needs to be done by them. This fear of missing out. We believe, and that's what we are seeing on the global perspective, on the global market, is that the power is finally moving back to the service providers by accessing and understanding customers' financial life, and of course, also using open banking and open finance. Finally, customers can move from this FOMO into JOMO, joy of missing out, where customers can finally sit back and relax and actually rely and trust their bank, if it's a human being or technology or the combination of that, to be there for them, to become this real-time, cool friend, trusted advisor that will help them to achieve financial goals, to be on their side. And that's exactly the vision that we are taking as a company in the market. And again, we're also taking that into a much deeper level of how we are helping banks to monetize the opportunity to help customers to achieve their financial goals, even in a completely automated way. Think about your bank that will help you to anticipate your needs, will think for you, will act for you, and helping you with your dreams. So in this world of autonomous finance, we believe that banks will have a leverage around customers' advocacy. And instead of just making things safe and secure for their customers, we believe that banks finally can anticipate customers' needs, doing specific tasks for them, even think in behalf of their customers, and again, helping them to achieve financial goals. And even, research companies like Accenture and others keep saying that trust-based propositions can actually generate, an average of 9% revenue uplift for banks, if they will be able to build those kind of strong relationship and helping customers to attaining financial wellness. They can really benefit from an improved retention and revenue growth. So there is a clear business case around that. When we are looking on that as Personetics, we are actually seeing, this self-driving finance trajectory happening in the market. How finally we as a company helping banks to better understand their own customers' real-time financial behavior, past, present, even predict the future, connect with all sorts of data sources, internal, external, and everything in real time. And then how to drive a personalized journey, personalized touching the customers 8, 12 times a week or a month with hyper-personalized insights, alerts, recommendations, or product-based advice, helping customers to better control their finance, understand their finance, and combining that in the right time with the right context with a product-based advice, according to the customer's real-time financial needs, product catalog from the bank, eligibility, analysis, and propensity models, and even autonomous finance, the ability of banks to even think and act in behalf of their customers. So our platform, which is quite robust and strategic, is dealing with all of that. We are the brain implemented within the existing channels of the banks that is capable of accessing and analyzing customers' financial data, of providing a real-time financial map, execute against that with hyper-personalized hundreds of insights, alerts, and recommendations out of the box, tested and verified in the Thai language, which is relevant to the customers with all the backend AI and machine learning models that we are using. And by the way, we are using over 3 dozen of our own patent-protected proprietary AI and machine learning models to drive personalized engagements and trust. We're also providing product-based advice, and we're also providing the codeless creation and management console, so banks by themselves will be able to modify existing content, create their own personalized digital experiences, pick and choose from our catalog or create their own capabilities and truly accelerate their innovation and adapt to market changes. So a lot of use cases around these kind of capabilities. Now, when we are speaking about innovation in the global market, from our perspective, when it comes to banks, it's really about the specific use cases. What exactly banks want to go after? What is the specific segment? What is the specific solution or the specific business case they are going after? And when we are speaking with banks, we are mostly speaking with the C-level. If it's the CEO or the EVP, either head of retail or the chief digital officers, we are trying to explain to them not just the overall approach and the overall trend, but exactly where is the need, where is the pain that they are going after. And now we as Personetics, in a very fashionably, openly manner, in a very quick way, we can helping them to achieve a specific financial need. So when it comes to innovation, it's really about the specific business case and the specific capabilities. It's not a broader aspect. It's what they are going, that's what trying to go after. Let me show you some examples. So DBS, one of the world's most innovative banks, we are working with them on a group level in 7 different countries all over Southeast Asia. And they really looked to quickly increase customer engagement, the stickiness of customers within the digital channels, and then to better understand customers' financial behavior, and according to that, to provide a real-time product-based advice. And we completely changed the way that the bank is engaging with customers. Instead of just logging into the mobile application and seeing the historical financial transactional data, we are actually showing the customers what's coming up, what they should be aware of. We are completely changing the relationship into a smart, personalized advisor to the customers, and at the right time, providing also a product-based advice. But the idea is to finally start with increasing the engagement, the trust, the frequency, and the time spent within any kind of digital channels, and the time is right, provide a context-based, product-based advice. Let's speak about Thailand. So we've done a big work with UOB Tomorrow, which is today the best digital bank in Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And we've done a lot of work on the strategic level with UOB to penetrate the Thai market with this Tomorrow digital bank. Now, all of this platform is completely controlled by Personetics. And there's a lot of case studies around that. And if you're interested, please reach out to me, and we will share with you the great strategic work that we've done with UOB Tomorrow in the Thai market. But the whole idea here was to quickly penetrate the market. You know, 70% of the market is really highly user of mobile applications, a lot of young people. UOB Tomorrow wants to quickly sweep off the market and to helping the young generation to quickly take control of their spendings and savings. So this really goes beyond just lifestyle banking and personalized touch. This is the ability to provide also the best products combinations according to the customer's financial behavior in the market. And I'm sure that you're aware of this digital bank. We've done a lot of work around that. The whole business model behind that was how to become this mobile-only first digital bank in Thailand, how to move the checking accounts of customers into this bank to become the main accounts and to go along with the customers to really enhancing the engagement, the growth, growing transactions, and increasing the balances, and to stay on a very low cost-income ratio, below 30%. And now we are looking on, I don't know, TNEX in the Thai market and some other digital banks challenges. And with Personetics, we created a good, I think, business model around how to acquire customers, how to transact with them from day one, how to increase the engagements and the trust, how to generate data that is valuable to the customers, and then providing hyper-personalized hundreds of insights, alerts, recommendations, even a chatbot in the Thai language, and to engage with customers at a scale. And of course, making it really profitable from the first or the second year. So you can see here some of the models, and we can, of course, take it that much deeper. Now, the good thing about it is that we were able in less than 1 year to really quadruple the customer engagement scores, to touch customers at least 8 times a month, and also to increase by 50% the click-through rates on presented insights and product-based advice to better sell and to better service. And after this great success, we took it also to other markets, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and others with our solution. You can see here, even in the middle, a product-based advice according to the customer's real-time financial behavior. This is what really drives 6 times higher conversion rates than what we are seeing in the market. This is some more examples from Thailand. Even as you can see, even a chatbot by Personetics to complete the whole experience and to help customers with their day-to-day finance. Now, it doesn't have to be so colorful, but the idea to move into a smart, proactive, financial data-driven approach with customers in order to increase the likelihood that customers will also get a product-based advice at the right time with the higher probability. That's the whole idea of Personetics. And I can show you some great examples from other global banks. This is Huntington Bank from the US. Again, a complete end-to-end personalized touch according to the whole mobile channel, including web. Almost a third of the customers of this bank are highly engaged with the mobile application, even 10 times a month. And the conversion rates, the ability to better sell and service, are growing very quick. Maybe last example, US Bank, one of the largest banks in the US market. With Personetics, they became the second best mobile application in the US in the last couple of years. We've implemented our personalized content, personalized insights, according to the customer's real-time financial behavior within the mobile channel and web channel and others, and reach amazing, great numbers and business impact, and able to quickly generate an ROI that lasts forever. Once we are starting to work with the bank, as you can see, we are keep growing and adding additional business solutions. That's the discussions right now we are having with K-Bank in Thailand as an example, growing and adding additional business solutions for online, for small business, for wealth management, budgeting tools, automated savings programs, and so on and so forth. And that's maybe the last example, the largest bank in Canada, RBC, 9 million digital customers, and you can see 5 different business solutions, great business impact, and helping banks to achieve their own financial goals. So if I need to summarize all of that, we are focusing as a company on the business case, and that's where the innovation is coming from. Start from the business case. Start by understanding where are your pain points and how we can complement, not compete, complement internal capabilities, internal ambitions, how we can help banks to quickly differentiate themselves in the market, increase those kind of business impact, and really accelerate the innovation and the ability to adapt to market changes. From boosting customer engagement to account and balance growth, digital sales growth, and of course, conversion rates that we are able to better sell and service into the market. And that's maybe the flywheel. It's how to increase customers' lifetime value across all channels, including the bankers' channels, how to help even the bankers in the call centers or financial advisors to boost their productivity with real-time financial data-driven product-based advice with the Personetics capabilities, accessing, analyzing data. We spoke about the insights, hundreds of out-of-the-box personalized day-to-day insights, alerts, recommendations that are highly relevant to the customers, from subscription management, transaction monitoring, balance forecasting, new products, quizzes, and so on and so forth. A deep level of analytical models that we are embedding within the banks, and they can control everything by themselves, and to reach this great business impact that I'm showing you. And there's a lot.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think we need to wrap it up because we have the next panel waiting.
Sure. So I'm just about to finish. But what is really important to understand about Personetics, not everything needs to build on the first day. We are able to work with banks towards their specific goals. And this is the last slide. This is a strategic personalized engagement platform, and you can see the options, how we are working across different segments, different channels, and how we can support banks to achieve the right two answers to the questions I've raised in the beginning, how to stay in the center of the customer's financial life, and how to better sell, to better service at the most efficient way. And the innovation is coming from the business case and going back to the capabilities, to a quick rollout in the market, testing that, and keep innovating. Thank you.
So I want to thank you, Dorel, very much for presenting Personetics, and actually quite interesting to see that already 2 banks in Thailand are seeing the potential here in order to approach their customer in a digital way. I think that even the financial sector in Thailand is quite involved, so I want to thank you very much for that. If you can stay a bit longer, maybe we will have some question in the Q&A, so and then you can reply, but of course you are available afterwards for everything. So I want to thank you again, and we will be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dorel. Thank you. Thank you everyone for the patience, and sorry for the a bit delay. So I will just quickly jump to our next panel, which is bridging Israel and Thailand together to the table. So we would like to continue and learn from professionals who have both hands, deep in innovation processes. This is in order to pin down the correct approach to it's a complex, challenging change. So our panelists today represent two large organizations and one startup. Both large organizations have made a strategic decision to invest in technology and innovation in order to locate the next growth engine. Both of them also decided to invest in the startup that is joining us. So let me quickly present our speakers. Mr. Shachar Florence is the Chief Growth and Innovation Officer of Strauss Group. For those of you who don't know, the Strauss Group is the largest food and beverage company in Israel. Shachar is also the former CFO of the company. Dr. Tanyawat Kasensuan is the Director of Global Innovation in Thai Union. And Dr. Nad has over 20 years of experience in actually implementing technology and innovation in large organizations. And Mr. Ran Gronich is the CEO and founder of Flying Spark, which is a great protein alternative startup, which currently opens its first manufacturing facility. And I am super happy that he chose Thailand in order to do that. So maybe let's just quickly jump in, or should we have the credit of the panel before? So, Dr. Nad, Shachar, Eran, hi. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for your time. I'm excited about this panel. I think it should be super interesting to hear from three very experienced people. So, Shachar, maybe I'll just jump in and start with you. As one of the largest food and beverage manufacturers in Israel, Strauss took upon itself, you can say, as a strategic move to embrace open innovation by working with startups. Can you please share with us the strategy and actual doing behind the scene from your perspective? You're on mute, Shachar.
Yeah. First of all, let me thank you for inviting me to speak here. It's a great honor. I think that the cooperation between the countries and the players within the innovation scene is something that will benefit all sides. And I'll apologize that I didn't meet the technology challenge of putting the right screen, because I try to do it now and it took too long. So excuse me not to be aligned with everybody else. But for your question, as you said, we are, at least in Israeli scale, we are a big company. We are the largest food manufacturer in Israel. And I think that for all big companies, there is always the challenge of what to do inside and what to do outside, and how you create the right atmosphere that enable the company to create the right innovation, but not innovation for the sake of innovation, but innovation that will help the business. So in the end of the day, you have to streamline the innovation with the, let's say, regular business. I think one of the things that we understood or admit, depending how you want to look at it, is that not all of the wisdom sits within our premises. There are other people out there that have great ideas, but sometimes the gap between them and the market is bigger than the aims that big companies like us have. And for us, working with startups, working with external innovation, both on equity base and on a business relationship base, not only that it helped the business itself, but if you're looking on the organization itself, it like blown air into the organization. It gave some atmosphere and creativity for the existing regular, business that have its own innovation. and it gave some people idea. They gave them the ability to understand that the big organization will help them if they will have the right ideas. And I think that the benefit is not only on the value increase if it's an equity investment, not only on the business result of the specific product that we worked with a specific startup, but also for the atmosphere and the belief of the existing organization on their ability to innovate.
So this is very interesting to hear from you about that, but maybe we should take it the follow-up and move to you, Dr. Nad. I hope it's okay I call you Dr. Nad. The full name is on the screen. So, Dr. Nad, Thai Union is considered by most, I think, and I'm here for 3.5 years, so I think that this is the right way to put it. But one of the pioneers and early adopters of technologies, especially in order to support Thai Union's brands around the world, which are many. So you made numerous strategic investments in startup. You supported local incubators, some with the NIA and Thai Bevis, for example, and operating a global innovation center. Now it will be, for me and the audience, extremely interesting, I think, to hear from you a bit about the lesson learned from working with startup and the decision of a conglomerate like Thai Union and the board of director in investing in such a risky asset, such a startup.
Yeah, first of all, it's very honored to be here, and very interesting question because we're still learning every day, I would say. So I would say that we have to capture what we learn and adapt with that. Working with startups, I would say you quite honored when you say we're quite early. I'm not sure we are the best one, but yes, we quite interested in moving to investing in startups, explore opportunity in collaborations. I think most important is the word about collaborations, because in the past, people hear about M&A, and then Thai Union is one of the company which have been doing lots of M&As in the company. If you know the company itself, 20, 30 years ago, we have been doing a lot of acquisitions to many, many companies, all the brands around the world we have been acquired. And I think lately that now the M&As do continue, but more importantly, we want to put some effort to working as a partnership in collaboration with startups. And I think investing in startups are very different from acquiring another company. First of all, you need to understand them, and a lot of startups, as we all know, is still considered a high risk investment, I would say. And I think when you want to invest in those startups, you need to really spend a lot of time to understand, where you don't really have a lot of time to understand, because the speed to invest or speed to make the decisions are very tight. I would say the speed pace in corporation, even Thai Union are not a very large corporation, but still taking some time when you compare to startups where you can make decisions very quickly, moving on. If you not make decision, maybe somebody else want to make decision. They can close the rounds very quickly. You have a very short periods to do due diligence. In fact, you might not even have a lot of time to do lots of due diligence because they don't have a lot of information for you to do due diligence. A lot of things, require you to understand from who's the team, right? I think technology-wise, lots of those investment that Thai Union, have been invested in startup is something very new to us. It's something extendingly like what you said. We have Global Innovation Center, over 100 scientists, but this is something above and beyond that. And it's something that I would say that we still need to learn too. So we do have to, I think, tap in a lot of resource globally to understand certain technology to be able to help us. But importantly, the lesson and learn, we have to understand the team, understand the technology, having a speed, to make the decision. And I think about collaborations, okay? We do have, investment from a corporate, but more importantly, how that will be the synergy to us, right? So when we look to that, it's not just a capital gains. Otherwise, we should just go to the VC. We're looking how we investing is what actually will be the synergy to the company. I think I heard Sahar say a similar thing. And I think that's something as a corporation move into startups, allow us to, I would say, invest in something that corporate today might not be able to do it ourselves. But the most important learning is to be able to understand the startup with their speed and decisions is more important. Yeah.
Maybe in this scope, I can also kindly ask you a bit, because we have Mr. Eran here today. So, and Flying Spark was your first, if I'm not, please correct me if I'm mistaken, was the first investment you have made altogether in the world. And you decided to go for a protein alternative. And so you decided to invest in Flying Spark. But can you maybe share with us the objectives and challenges behind this investment? Because investment was, first of all, in Israel, which is far away. Second, in a early stage startup, as they say. So you saw something, and I would be happy to hear about, the mechanism behind it.
Okay, good. I have Aaron next to me here on the screen.
That's okay. We're all friends here.
And I'll be very blunt. I think it's a good investment. I think it's we still believe it's a good investment. A lot of learning, definitely. Okay, Aaron is very new. It's the first startup that I think I believe that's you handle as well. But more importantly, is alternative protein also very new to us. Okay, to understand, I think a lot of people ask, you're a seafood company, why you invest in insect? I think that's, creating a lot of interest to industry, and I think the reason is we really know that we have to really capture the opportunity in the protein. Alternative protein is one opportunity that consumer asks for. But working with, with a startup like Flying Spark with Aaron, we need to understand what we can do at their stage. They're still working a lot in the lab where, Thai unions would like to have them today selling to a lot of customers. I think that we practically pulling one another, so like when you're going to get the product in, they're also chasing us to get a lot of things. So we're chasing one another. But more importantly is to work with a startup like him and be able to incorporating into the corporation, meaning that incorporate into commercialize of his products. Okay, you heard about he's putting a factory in, which is exciting, but we also would like to have that, with the costings, a lot of things. So I think that's a part that back and forth we learn from one another. So I think Aaron might be able to share more, but I have to say that's is a growing pain, I would say, one another, but it's a good learning as, he's the first one, right?
Interesting. Thank you, Dr. Nat. So Eran, now it's your turn to be blunt. So Eran, we just heard from two large food and beverage companies about their journey to innovation, about what they see importance, but I want the audience today to hear the second side of the coin about Flying Spark and the do's and don'ts in a relationship with a corporate. I think that as Dr. Nat said, you're the first investment, but you also learned a lot by working in a big corporate, the first international corporate that actually invested in you. So it's interesting to see from the other side.
Okay, so thank you, Dagan. Thank you for inviting me. So Flying Spark is a startup company. We are producing a sustainable and high quality protein out of fruit fly larvae. And I think that Flying Spark is a very interesting case study about an Israeli startup that had a very classic route of a startup, from bootstrapping and friends and family money, and then an accelerator and angel investment, and then an incubator, and the incubator is owned by the Strauss Group. So this was our first encounter with a large corporate investment. And then after 3 years of R&D, another investment from the CVC of Thai Union. So basically, we are in a relationship with two big corporations, one in Israel and one in Thailand, and now we are getting back to Thailand and basically investing this money back in Thailand. So it's a very nice circle. Now, working with a corporate, in the beginning, it's very stressful. There are a lot of concerns. Okay, how will this corporate treat me? Will he see me as a very small division in his corporate? Now, it's two totally different DNAs. Okay, we are a small startup. We can be like 4, 5, 6, 8 people versus thousands of employees corporate. It's like a giant ship versus a very small speedboat. And in the beginning, you have the concern of, okay, how will it work? They will ask me to do stuff that we don't want to do. They will interfere with our vision, etc. So first of all, I want to say that I was, very, very surprised with both corporates that, giving us the free range to work and to grow. This is a very big advantage to have like two giant partners. Okay, it increased the odds of winning the game. And in my eyes, I see mostly, again, advantages, okay, because from both corporate, we're getting a lot of support in many aspects, okay? It can be just advisors or brainstorm with the company that is already there, is already selling, is already distributing, is already manufacturing, and we are just a company with a vision, okay? So we are getting a lot of help in many aspects. I think that it's very, very important when you are dealing with the corporate is to be very clear and focus with the vision and very transparent with all the moves that you are doing or planning to do. Basically, the corporate have very little time to invest in every startup. So every discussion needs to be very focused and very clear. The startup need to have some more patience when you are dealing with the corporate, okay? Because there are processes of making the decision within the corporate that is naturally takes much more time than a decision made in a startup. I remember that in the beginning when Thai Union due diligence us, so I told the head of the M&A, I feel that it's like an M&A process. It's not a startup due diligence process, and that there is a lot of difference. And as Dr. Nad mentioned, it takes time also for both sides to learn each other and learn the process and master the process eventually. But I think that also Thai Union felt more comfortable with another corporate already investing in Flying Spark to join into this venture. So to wrap it up, I think that the advantages are much higher than the disadvantages working with a big corporate, because in the end of the way, the small startup wants to be a big corporate someday in the future.
Yes, you talked about advantages and disadvantages, which is super interesting. And I think that actually, I can actually hear you and Dr. Nad speaking the same thing from the mirror point of view, which is interesting to see. But I want to ask you, Shachar, I always remember that our audience today are board of directors. And we talked even in the first session on the 17th about the fear of taking a strategic move, so meaning that is it ROI, if I'm failing, if I'm not failing, what are the specific, let's say, objectives they have to set for myself when a company goes to this kind of journey? But I think that Strauss, when they open the kitchen, etc., you can see more objectives and more values to be gained not only by money or a return as in for investment. So do you agree on this? You're still on mute.
Yes, so first of all, yes, the kitchen is the name of the incubator of Strauss. Deliberately, it is set even physically out of the premises. And I do agree with Dr. Nad and with Eran. Working with external innovation needs the organization to change a little bit the way it is looking at the business. And you know, unlike the previous session here, that I felt like a selling session. I'm talking about our experience. It might be relevant to other organizations. It might be not. I can share our point of view. We are, as I said, we are the biggest food and beverage company in Israel, but in a world scale, we are relatively a small company. For a small company that comes from, again, relatively small home base like Israel, 10 million consumers, the only way to deal with the giants, the Nestle's, the Pepsi, the Coke, the big food companies in the world, is by creating a competitive edge with the resources that you have. The only resources that we had, we don't have, you know, too much muscles, which is equity. We don't have an access to too many markets in the world. For us, it's the innovation. So when we decided to go for external innovation, actually we tried to help the business, the Strauss Group business, to gain competitive edge in the international markets by leveraging external innovation. Strauss has lots of partnership. About 70% of the turnover comes from businesses that are ventures with other companies. We are partners of Pepsi in dips and spreads in the US, in Haier in China with water purification, with family in Brazil. We are the #1 coffee in Brazil, and so on and so forth. We know how to work with partnership, but working with those startups is a different partnership. All of this partnership that I described is one-on-one. We are partners with Pepsi and dips and spreads in the US, with a family in Brazil in coffee, in Haier in China on business, in water purification. All of a sudden, when you invest in startups, you have many partners, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to be partner with Thai Union. Otherwise, I'm not sure that as a business we could have established that. You need to create it around something, and the something here is, in this case, is the advantage in finding a more sustainable solution for creating protein to human feeds. So you need, as Ran said, to allow the startup to have a buffet. You can't impose your own procedures on the startup. I can hopefully help the startup access the market, contact our partners, providing them marketing advice or even financial advice. But first of all, you have to remember that these startups have other shareholders, and they have their own mind, and they have their own ideas and corporate governance and so on and so forth, and you have to respect it. And also the startup itself, usually the management have its own stack and has its own point of view. So it's not like a regular partnership between two businesses, and Dr. Nad said it's not an acquisition. We didn't acquire a Flying Spark when we invested. So just to wrap up, and I don't want to take too much of your time, for corporates, for relative big corporates, it's a tool. It's a very good tool in my mind to create advantages in an area that they are not expert at. It's not just more of the same from your own, regular business, extending and making another M&A in something that you do. And believe me, we didn't deal with fly larvae before, and nor with too much of alternative protein. So it's a way to learn. You need to understand that you need to help the startup, but you cannot impose. You need to understand that there are other partners investing in this startup, and all of them wants to see the success of the startup, but it might be that they have different point of views, and you need to respect it. And in the bottom line, yes, it's a business, not just for the sake of equity profits, but also to create businesses. This is the difference, I think, between us corporates investing in something that is similar to our business, in this case, food for us. Unlike VC, that them you can start something, you can change, you can invest in different areas, and the only thing that you are interested is the exit. And this is another tool to create competitive edge in things that you are not expert.
I understand. Thank you. Dr. Nad, I want to say to go domestically for a second, with your permission. In the recent years, we've seen a lot of Thai corporates open a corporate venture capitals as a way to go into the open innovation strategy. I want to ask your opinion, because you've had a lot of experience for many years. Do you believe this is a sustainable business model, especially in these COVID times? I'm trying to understand if the safer focus now should be made into the core and more conservative business of companies, and not necessarily go into the venture capitals and invest in technologies in this time. Maybe we should sit and wait and do what the company knows how to do many years.
Oh, well, interesting questions. First of all, you asked me the prior question about the board decisions, and I think this is relating. Because when the Thai Union set up our corporate venture fund of $30 million that we announced for the first lot, I think, which is a year ago, and so that's what the board have agreed in terms of how the company can use that amount for investment for startups, which definitely are very different than generally M&A. So the risks might be higher. We do set up a team. We under Thai Union we call XCOM, which have lots of, I would say, senior executive in the company in the multiple disciplines in terms of helping shaping of the investment, where investment should be. And you asked about the situations with the COVID. We turn it around the other way around. I think this is a great opportunity that when the COVID comes, you see a lot of stress in the business. We know where's the real pain point in the business. Okay, give you one example. Without the COVID, without a situation like today, you never imagine about people cannot travel, people can go out shopping. Things change. People can go to restaurants. Thailand today, we still have certain lockdown in multiple provinces, which not allow us to eat in a restaurant. So how that impact to us, okay? When you talk about canned fish, people maybe without the COVID, they may not think about the canned fish, right? Because they said they can go to get a fresh fish. And nowadays, the convenience to consumers to bring food at home, it's important. So I think it allows us to think a lot more. And I think the investment for us also helping us shaping. You say that we should not investing outside the core. I think what we all investment, no matter what, it's still relevant to Thai Union. And I think I would say that what is the core of business of Thai Union? Is it only canned fish, or is it protein manufacturing, or is it food manufacturing? It depends on how you look at the company. Okay, we do have a lot of expertise, and I think investing in alternative protein have a lot of synergy. We do have route to the market in a multiple directions, from feeds to food. We are working from a very simple commodities food to now even go to supplement and medical food area. So I would say that that's the investment allow us to actually reshaping ourselves, and growing the business. And I think that's how the board also make the decision according to what they see it fit with the strategy of the company. It does have, assessing all the risks. And I think the return, we also looking to keep tracking of how the investment that we put it in terms of synergies to the company. Could be some of them could be coming up in the dollar signs. It's possible. Aaron's have IPO his company. I think you see the valuations very clearly there. No, not that we're expecting that. But we more want to see his factory up in Thailand. We want to see his product starting to sell in our product branding, so maybe to our customer, and he become our supplier. So that's the part that we like to see more. If we only look for the capital gain, he's done the IPO already. No, it's only starting point where we start to see the fruit of investment of the company like that start to come. So I think that hopefully give you more view of how we invest in the CVC and the CVC health. Similar to what Sahar said too. It's the synergy of the company. It's not only the capital gains, and the board also look into that as beneficial. Yeah.
Well, yes, it helped very much, and thank you very much. Actually, it's very refreshing to hear the way that you yourself and the company thinks, and even more refreshing to actually hear the optimistic point of view that maybe some good come out of COVID in terms of seeing the business scenario that we have never would be able to see. Our session today is a bit prolonged, so I will like to, with your permission, wrap up with you, Eran. I want to ask you, so what are the next steps from Flying Spark? We spoke about your investor, the shareholder now, about the journey that the startup is currently doing and the challenges with the corporate, and of course the benefits of it. But especially in the Thai context, I would be very happy to hear a bit from you. Where is it going? Where are we going now?
Okay, so I'm proud to say that we are building our first production facility in Thailand, in Phetchaburi province. So we rented a 7,000 square meter facility and just finalized the detailed design. And next month we will start the construction of building our 2 units facility. Basically, it's the insect rearing unit, and on the other side, the processing unit, and it will be ready partially by the end of this year, and 100% will be in the beginning of next year. So we'll be able to start commercial production and sales. So this is in Thailand, and I'm also happy to say that yesterday we got the approval of the BOI in Thailand, which is means a lot to us. We are also working very closely with the pet care division of Thai Union, developing products, pet food products based on our protein. So again, in a very interesting test case. So Thai Union is our partners, our investors, and also our customers. So we have a double interest of success here, and I'm very excited about it. So yeah, the plans are to finish the facility and start commercial activity next year.
So I hope that next year we will already be able to see some things on the shelves, and the situation will be much better, and we can visit the factory. And but because our time is running out.
Don't worry, if you won't see it on the shelf, we will ship it to you. Don't worry.
Okay. Good. Now I'm calmed down. Thank you very much.
Again, just before you wrap, if I may, first of all, again, thanks for the forum to invite us. And from our point of view, even bigger thank to Thai Union. I think it's not obvious that corporate like this invested as you said, in a remote startup in Israel at the beginning. And I remember the conversation that we had as 2 investors in the company, how we see working together. And at least from our point of view, it is an opportunity, and we learned a lot from Thai Union, how they are looking at the activities, but even more on the help that they are giving to Flying Spark. So this is the importance of a local partner in the market that is targeted by the startup. And from our point of view, it's a great experience up until now.
I can tell you that most Israelis that I meet come to Thailand on a business perspective. Most of us come to as a tourist, but as a business perspective, I hear the same thing every time. Wow, I didn't know such a vivid corporates and innovation eagerness that Thailand is in Israel is quite a good surprise, and I'm very, very happy to be here this time. So thank you very, very much, and thank you for coming. And for any question that we have in the audience, they can type now or even contact you later. We'll be happy to assist. But please stay safe, and we'll talk very soon. Thank you, Shachan. Thank you.
Zvika.
Thank you.
Hi again, Dagan.
Hey, Doctor. Hey, 𝐶𝐿𝐵𝐻, how are you?
Well done. That was great, and it was very eye-opening. From what I feel is that, oh my God, we are all, getting wrapped up with all these COVID things, and one day, like someone said, I wrote it down, which is really very important. Is there are decades where nothing happened, and there are weeks where decades happened.
I wrote it down myself.
And then one day we wake up, and then all this technology and its implication on our business that we just stop firefighting, and then we are not ready for that. So yeah, so I wrote it down, and maybe you can share with us or with me also. Is that in the past 2 days we learned about P&G, and we learned about their business model where they don't grow themselves, but they acquire the technology and they work with the startup. So the capability that they have to have is also how to work with the startup. Okay. The second one, which Ehud was talking, is the director has to understand the technology implication. And in order to do that, the directors themselves, each one of us cannot point out to the technology director and say, it's your job. It's everyone's job. And we have to stay close to technology, embrace it, and surrounded by people who understand it. And, lastly, there must be KPI for that, right? Yeah. And then today we talk about all this innovation, the blockchain, that the bank are still the mover in that, because they are the one who custody the relationship with the customers. And then we talked about all this self-financing, the AI-led financing.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, and then with this Thai Union frozen, in future, they may have to ask themselves, are they a fish seafood company or they are protein company?
This is true, by the way. I can tell you, 𝐶𝐿𝐵𝐻, that regarding what you just said, so we heard a lot of different methods in the past 2 days. First of all, I want to be very clarified. There is not one right thing of doing, one way of doing things. Everybody's dealing a bit different, not only with the situation, but with the trend of innovation and try to bring it outside. So you can take what you want from this professional, but nothing is sacred, as they say. Thai market is a bit different, and maybe they are doing anything wrong, but just to take, I hope the director will be able to take what is relevant for them in order to enrich themselves. As I told in the beginning of the first session, Israelis are not smarter than anyone else. We have our strengths and our weaknesses as well. So this kind of event helped me as well to learn from the Thai ecosystem. But most of the people that we did heard in the past 2 days, you can see the connection is they chose the open innovation. Open innovation is the way that the company decide, okay, I'm open for things from the outside. And I heard a very nice sentence a couple of days ago. Someone told me, every company needs to understand that the smartest and most capable people work for someone else. And this is, and I like this sentence very, very much because it doesn't matter which company are you, if you're Apple or if you, I don't know, Strauss from Israel, it's a statistic thing. Most capable people work someone else. So embrace the knowledge from outside and work together. Only in things that can be relevant to your organization can only be a positive thing in the long run.
And again, that's why you're smarter than me.
Trust me, I'm not.
And with that, I would like to end by thank you, Dagan, for all this great arrangement. And you know what? Let's not make this the last time.
I promise.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and everyone in IOD and the attendees for having us.
And thanks the Embassy of Israel for lending us this wonderful platform. And thanks to everyone for joining, the sponsors, the members. And you can watch this video again and tell other members who missed it. And we will be letting you know soon when the video will be on the social media. Please give us some feedback, please. That's really important. And your feedback, especially the one that you wrote, not the one that you tick only the number, is very, very special for us. And thanks for that. And our next activity will be on the Tuesday, the 24th of August, 2 to 4. Okay, and that will be in Thai. From now on, it will be in Thai. And the next one will be, we will be hearing from Khun Kan Takun Hun, how to share through tough time. Good time is not easy to share, but tough time is very challenging. Let's hear from Khun Kan Takun Hun for 1 hour of video, and then I'll talk to Khun 𝐾𝐲𝐫, our co-moderators, about what we heard from Khun Kan, and then talk to you, and then let's learn together. For now, ขอบคุณครับ
บริหารธุรกิจเนี่ยมันมีปัจจัยที่จะทำให้องค์กรยั่งยืนเนี่ยที่เกี่ยวข้องเยอะมาก
เรื่องของการบริหารความเสี่ยงเรื่องของการที่เราจะต้องทำอย่างไรถึงจะดำเนินธุรกิจอย่างยั่งยืน
เรื่องของ sustainability กับเรื่องของ strategy เนี่ยมันคือเรื่องเดียวกัน
มันเป็นการเติบโตไม่ใช่เพียงแค่เศรษฐกิจแต่เป็นการสร้างสังคมที่แข็งแรงขึ้น
วันนี้ sustainability เนี่ยเป็นความท้าทายที่ให้ทั้งโอกาสนะครับแล้วก็ความเสี่ยง
คนรุ่นใหม่จำนวนมากเนี่ยเขาเริ่มมองว่าทำยังไงที่จะรอดกันยาว
ๆพี่หลักสูตรนี้ดีมากเป็นการช่วยบอร์ดเข้ามาเป็นส่วนคิดมากในการวาง strategy
ถ้าสามารถมาร่วมในหลักสูตรแบบนี้แล้วเนี่ยผมว่าไอ้นี่คือความหวังเลย
เราได้เรียนรู้เนี่ยไม่ได้จากแค่วิทยากรเท่านั้นแต่เพื่อนๆในคลาสเองเนี่ยก็เป็นอะไรที่สุดยอดไม่น่าจะได้ไปหาเรียนได้แบบนี้ที่อื่น
รู้สึกว่าผมไม่รู้อะไรอีกตั้งเยอะในการที่จะเป็นกรรมการที่ครบถ้วนผมพบว่าทันสมัยมากขึ้นแล้วก็ตอบโจทย์หลายๆอย่าง
สิ่งแวดล้อมด้านของสังคมและก็ด้านของธรรมาภิบาลก็เป็นหัวใจสำคัญในด้านของ ESG ขณะเดียวกันก็ต้องมี innovation เพื่อให้สามารถที่จะมุ่งไปข้างหน้าให้ได้อย่างมั่นคง
ทุกคุณเป็น top management คุณเป็น chairman คุณเป็นกรุ๊ป CEO ต่างๆต้องมองภาพยาวธุรกิจที่เราอยู่มันอยู่ใน direction ที่มันจะไปหรือเปล่าเทรนด์ของ business มันจะไปหรือเปล่า
องค์กรจะอยู่เฉยไม่ได้ละดังนั้นเรื่องของตัว innovation นะคะหรือเรื่องของ sustain เนี่ยเป็นเรื่องที่บอร์ดกับฝ่ายจัดการควรจะต้องมาให้ความสำคัญที่ชัดเจนและเพิ่มขึ้น
ธุรกิจเนี่ยมันต้องเปลี่ยนแปลงตามสถานการณ์เพราะฉะนั้นบอร์ดที่มีความรู้ความสามารถที่จะสอดคล้องกับความต้องการธุรกิจเป็นเรื่องสำคัญ
niche player เนี่ยมันถูก disrupt มันถูก challenge มาตลอดว่า despite ว่าคุณ short term performance คุณทำดีจะแน่ใจยังไงว่าอีกหลายปีข้างหน้าคุณจะทำได้เหมือนเดิมและทำได้ดีกว่าเดิม
การมาร่วมสัมมนาเนี่ยนะฮะก็ทำให้เราได้รับรู้นะฮะแล้วก็เห็นมุมมองต่างๆ
เราเห็นภาพกว้างเราเห็น foresight ว่าวันนี้การเปลี่ยนแปลงทั้งหลายความท้าทายทั้งหลายกำลังเข้ามา